Welcome to Education in Focus. I'm Eliana Kernodle. School choice debates continue as more states opt into programs aimed at expanding educational opportunities for families. Joining me to tell us more about this is the Center Square's education reporter, Esther Wickham. Esther, National School Choice Week is coming up next week. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, thanks, Eliana. So, just as you said, this kind of debate around educational freedom, school choice has been ongoing since this is a big priority for the Trump administration. It's been a full year since his second term, and so we've seen a lot of, pushback, opposition, as well as major support in favor of school choice. And this is now the annual celebration for National School Choice Week that's coming up January 25th through the 31st. And this is kind of a big national event held around the country through various school districts and different organizations, essentially designed to raise awareness of school choice around the country. And they're going to be hosting, various events with these different schools and organizations. And, ultimately, this kind of program and these kinds of events want to, like I said, raise awareness around school choice. They argue, those that are in support, that, school choice gives the power and the control back to families. And, they want children to learn. They want, kids in the education system to thrive, even post graduating as they go off into college and future careers. And so those that are in support of school choice believe that parents and families and children should have the choice first and foremost to whatever kind of education they want to go into.
And where does school choice stand as of right now? As I mentioned, there's, more and more states that are opting into these sorts of programs. So what's sort of the lay of the land?
Yeah, so as of now, there are only a few states that have completely opted in to when it comes to education freedom accounts, when it comes to various programs for school choice, because school choices give a very broad range of different things. But essentially, a lot of states that have opted into education freedom initiatives, there are only 8 states. So Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Louisiana, to name a few, a lot of them in the southern area, as many more continue to opt in. But this comes from a federal level when President Trump, signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And we know that there is a whole host of different things within that bill. It essentially creates a federal income tax credit for up to $1,700 per year for the individuals that donate to certified scholarship organizations. So essentially, what this tax credit does is it allows these school choice programs to use those donations to fund private school tuition scholarships for students that are qualifying. So if a student wants to homeschool, wants to charter school, wants to do school kind of in a hybrid fashion, they have that flexible option. As we've seen, college and even, private education is getting more and more expensive. And so the best option for a lot of families is public school. Like we've talked about a ton, Eliana, we've seen the public school education system kind of on a decline. And since COVID, enrollment has declined. And I think because a lot of parents want that flexibility, they want that choice in their students' education, as well as we've seen kind of test scores within the public school system decline. So students aren't really getting what they're putting into it, and these parents want a return on investment, and so they believe that the support of school choice is the best. So as more states continue to opt in, we're going to probably see that continual decline in enrollment for public education, since this is an ongoing debate and more awareness is being raised around it.
And you spoke to some different people on this subject. What did they have to say?
Yeah, so as I said, there are a ton of those that support school choice and those that oppose it. And we'll talk a little bit about those that have opposed it, since we've kind of explained what the supporters have talked about. Those that oppose it, their biggest worry is, as I said before, this decline in public education. And those that are, against school choice are kind of saying, this may create oversight gap. There's so much flexibility and there's so much funding that's going towards this and support that's going towards this. How are we filling in those gaps? How are we kind of regulating and making sure that these funds are going in the right place? A lot of states and a lot of governors of those states have seen, specifically when it comes to the education funding accounts or the ESA vouchers, whatever you want to call them, some people are abusing that system. They're taking the money that is meant for books, tuition, education related purposes, and they're going to get their nails done. They're going on a shopping spree. They're utilizing this money for bad. And so a lot of those that oppose it kind of take those examples and say, oversight gap. How do we fill this? There's no way to regulate this. And another thing a lot of people say is it impacts public school funding. I was able to talk to Kim Mazuka. She's the CEO of education equity nonprofit called 10,000 Degrees. And, she talks about, with these recent federal policy shifts, there's an uncertainty in the education landscape. And, she is heavily against the Trump administration. She's saying that a lot of his actions in the past year have negatively impacted students, schools, community, with this main focus on school choice. They're cutting funding. As we've talked about a lot before, they're dismantling the Department of Education. And so her main concern is that, the administration continues to make uncertain and unpredictable moves that may impact those that are currently within the public school system. Another thing I'll add is as we've talked about a lot, Eliana, the test scores that we've seen are just on a major decline. One example, in New York City, there was just an investigation done for teachers, passing students that are failing their classes. And for that school specifically, the average for the ACT score, right, a test that you take to try and get into college, was a 22. And the highest you can rank is a 36 with the ACT. These students are not passing their regular tests and exams and kind of being pushed towards graduation. And then we don't even know what that's going to look like once they get into college and the career field. So we might start seeing those negative impacts in 10, 20, 30 years from now, with those kinds of students being placed into the career field. But as I said before, supporters of school choice and the Trump administration continue to say that, American tax dollars should be poured into giving parents that choice, so that these children can see that return on investment, and that you're not wasting taxpayer dollars towards funding and towards education that you're just ultimately not gonna see the results coming in.
Well, Esther, thank you for your insights on this story. You can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.